There's a lot of fear in the conversation about AI right now. Fear that your job will disappear, that your team will be replaced, that the experience you spent years building will suddenly be treated as less valuable than a tool someone bought last quarter. And I understand why that fear lands. Because for many people, this is not an abstract conversation about technology or even what AI is going to bring. It's about whether they will still have a place in the future. But I want to offer a different perspective. Not false reassurance, not everything will be fine, and not the idea that AI will not change work, because it will, and it is. But change is not the same as replacement. And the future of your firm is not decided by the tools it buys. It is shaped by the capabilities it chooses to build, protect, and develop. My name is Inga, and I help firms validate their automation readiness so their AI and tech investments actually work. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why there is still hope in an AI-driven economy and give you a way to think about this that your firm's leadership probably hasn't considered yet. And by the end, you'll have 4 questions you can ask in your next meeting that will change how AI or automation in general gets deployed around you. Let's start with what is true. AI can do work that once took people hours. It can draft, summarize, organize information, compare documents, find patterns, create a first pass at work that once began with a blank page. And for work that is stable and routine, that can be genuinely useful. But somewhere along the way, we began treating that enhancement as proof that people are becoming unnecessary. And that is where the conversation goes completely wrong. Because work is not just a list of tasks, and people are not just collections of tasks. Think about the person in your firm who knows when something is off before anyone else sees it. They know the client who says everything is fine, but is actually frustrated. They know that a request that looks routine is not routine at all. They know which exceptions matter, which relationship needs care, which decision can't wait, and which efficient solution is going to create a much bigger problem later. That knowledge rarely lives in a policy document. It doesn't show up in an org chart, and it doesn't always appear in the data, but it is there. It's experience, context, judgment, and it's part of what holds a firm together. Most professional firms don't have a shortage of information. They have information in emails, in shared drives, in client files, in practice management systems, in spreadsheets, in project folders, and in the heads of the people who have been there the longest. And the problem isn't always that the information needs to be in one place. It's that people can't always see the full picture. What is this information? Where did it come from? Is it complete? Is it current? Who owns it? Who is allowed to use it? And can we trust it enough to make a decision from it? That is a very different problem from simply needing another tool. Because when that visibility is missing, experienced people are the ones who become the glue. They end up doing the search. They interpret. They compare. They remember. They spot what is missing. They stop an error before it reaches the client. And that work is often invisible until the person doing it leaves or a new system assumes that information is cleaner and more reliable than it really is. I talk about this in more depth in my video, The Dangerous Process You're Ignoring Before Scaling AI, which is linked in the description if you want to check it out, and I encourage you to. I think the deeper problem is that too many firms still think of themselves as machines. And if you also saw my last video, The Organism versus the Machine While Your Firm is Struggling, you know what I mean by that. And I also encourage you to check that video out too if you haven't. But to summarize quickly here, in a machine, you can replace one part or add another part and still expect the system to continue running. But organizations are not machines. They are organisms. It's practically in the name. Everything is connected. When you remove a person, you're not simply removing a role from an org chart. You may be removing institutional memory, relationships, informal decision-making, a workaround that was holding a broken process together, the person who trained everyone else, even though it was never formally part of their role. And when you introduce a new tool, you're not simply adding automation. You're changing how that information moves, how decisions get made, how people collaborate, how clients experience your firm. That is why so many tech initiatives disappoint. Not necessarily because the tool is bad, but because the company was never structured to support what the tool was being asked to do. So the tool gets blamed. But what it's really exposing is what was already unstable. AI can be impressive, but impressive is not the same as reliable. A system can produce an answer that sounds confident. It can create a summary that reads beautifully. It can draft something in seconds that might have taken someone an hour. But in professional work, the question is not only, can it produce an answer? The question is, can we trust the answer enough to act on it? Can we see where it came from? Can we verify it? Do we know what information it used? Do we know what it missed? And when the answer is wrong, as it sometimes will be, do we know who is accountable for catching it? That is why AI should support professional judgment, not quietly replace it. The best use of technology isn't to make the final decision. It's to help people get to the right decision faster, to surface relevant information and identify exceptions, to prepare that first draft, making that work easier to review, and to give professionals more time for the work only they can do. That is a much more useful ambition than simply asking how many people can a tool replace. AI is an amplifier. I've said this before quite a few times in past videos. AI can accelerate a healthy process, but it can also accelerate a broken one. If the information going in is incomplete, it can help you produce incomplete work faster. If the process is unclear, it can create more polished confusion. If nobody owns a decision, it can make accountability even harder to find. And if your people do not trust the output, they will check everything manually anyways. So now you have the same work plus another tool. This is why before automating something, I use a very simple filter. Is the work repeatable? Is the expected outcome reasonably predictable? And is the risk low enough that you can recover quickly if something goes wrong? If the answer is yes, automation may be a strong fit. But if the answer is no to any of those questions, that does not mean that your firm is behind. It means the work may need human judgment, stronger controls, better information, or more clarity before technology can help. And that's not failure. That's insight. Now, this is where the hope comes in, because hope isn't passive. It's not pretending that disruption isn't happening. It's not waiting for technology, the economy, or another leader to decide what happens to your firm. Hope is agency. It's recognizing that you still have choices. You can choose to remove the low-value friction that drains your people's time, the chasing, the searching, the copying, the re-entering, the repeated checking, and the work that keeps highly capable people busy but doesn't make the firm stronger. You can choose to use AI or any automation to protect time for analysis, client relationships, creativity, problem solving, and professional judgment. Or you can use technology as an excuse to cut capability before you understand what that capability was actually doing for you. Those are very different futures. The first asks, how can we make our people more effective? The second asks, how quickly can we make people less necessary? One builds a stronger capability and better outcomes. The other may create a short-term efficiency gain, but quietly weakens the firm's ability to adapt, serve clients, and recover when things go wrong. And eventually, something always goes wrong. A client situation changes, our process breaks, a key piece of information is missing, an output looks right, but it's not. And in that moment, someone still needs to understand the context. Someone needs to make the judgment call. Someone needs to own what happens next. So no, I don't believe the future is a simple choice between humans and AI, and I really don't think most people believe that either. But it's the wrong question. The better question is, what are we actually trying to improve? What needs to remain human-led? What information and conditions need to be true before we incorporate a tool? And what would success actually look like? Because technology isn't the strategy. It's a tool. Capability is the ability to deliver value. And capability lives in your people, processes, data, and systems, and your governance. When those things are stable, AI and automation can be an extraordinary accelerator. When they're not, They simply help you scale the instability. If you're considering an AI or an automation investment, I want you to pause before you ask what the tool can do. I want you to ask these questions instead. First, what result will make this investment worthwhile? Not more efficient. And be specific. Are you seeking more capacity, fewer errors, faster turnaround, less rework, better client experiences? Second, where could this break down? In the people, in the processes, the information, the technology, or the accountability around it? Third, is this actually a contained initiative, or is it exposing something larger that needs attention first? And fourth, what can we do in the next 90 days to test the opportunity, strengthen the foundation, and avoid making an expensive decision too early? Those questions won't eliminate uncertainty, but they will give you something better than false certainty. They'll give you a way to move forward with intention. The future of work is changing, no matter what we do. But it's not a technology forecast that simply happens to us. It's shaped by the decisions we make now. We can use AI and automation to remove low-value friction and create more room for meaningful work, or we can use it to cut too deeply, lose critical capability, and realize too late what people were holding together. I know which future I want to help build. And that is why, even in a moment like this, I still believe there is always hope. If this changed how you're thinking about AI and the future of work, drop the word hope in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this helped you see something you hadn't noticed before, I invite you to check out this video right here or this playlist over here. Or like this video and subscribe and share. Doing that helps tell the algorithm that more people should see and can benefit from content like this. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next time.